Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. So with that in mind, let's jump right in to this week's episode of Becoming Something.
What's up, podcast world? It's your boy JP in the podcast studio with Nathan Hilgenkamp.
What's up, party people?
And Kathy Davidson.
Hi, guys. How are we doing?
Doing well, man. What's up with the teacher vibes today?
I just decided to dress like a kindergarten teacher, and I'm feeling really good about it.
Guys, I would love if there was actually...
Nate, actually.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
You got like tennis coach vibes.
Can you imagine if there's actually a podcast world? Like we just live there with all of the Becoming Something people? I would be king. Well, I guess it'd be Prince. I'd be a prince.
That would be fun.
I know.
Our listeners are really awesome.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
You guys are amazing.
Jesus is king.
Right. That's why I said I'd be Prince.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What would JP be? He'd be like...
I'd be what I am
MC.
in real life, your servant.
Oh my gosh, that's
doing
right.
Everything you want
Chief
me to
servant.
do anytime.
Guys, I walked in on someone today eating imitation crab.
That's a weird pause there.
Yeah.
It was
Let's be careful
on purpose.
about that.
Pregnant
Okay.
pause. Learned in communication class. And you, JP's claiming that like everything is imitation crab. There's like no such thing as real crab.
I'm just saying, if you've ever had
And I think that's a load of crab.
If you've ever had crab salad, don't laugh at that stupid stuff.
It was funny.
What about like lobster mac and cheese? Like I've had that before. Like Nuke's, I think, has that. It's a great restaurant.
For sure, that's not real.
You're telling me
lobster.
it's not real?
No,
He's
I'm
saying
telling you that's
crab.
lobster.
So what?
You're
What's the
talking about
difference? They're
imitation
both crustaceans.
crab.
No, lobster and crab are
This
not
is
the
our
same
worst
thing.
intro, I think.
Man, well, whatever. Anyway, I'm appalled by it, and I will not eat anything fake. I'm all organic. Y'all should see my diet.
I know your diet.
This is dumb.
This is the worst start.
This is the worst.
Why can't we
intro
talk about
you've ever
anything
done in
else?
your
I just
life.
feel like
I
everyone's
just went
expectations.
to Mexico for a week.
Okay, great. How
JP
was that?
Somewhere cool.
How was Mexico?
It was fun. We had a
Did y'all
blast.
leave the resort?
Do you see how tan I am?
Did you leave the resort?
We didn't leave the resort.
You didn't?
Are you disappointed?
Uh-uh.
We were just in a lazy mode. I just read like a bazillion books.
As long as you didn't want to. I
and-
mean, you told me you would want to, and so I tried to give you some nice places to visit. And now you said I just wasted all that time.
No.
And I really don't have a lot of discretionary
Okay.
time, Kathy. So it's like, hey, next time you go to Mexico, don't ask me for anything.
Okay.
How was Hawaii? Looked like you were in Hawaii.
No,
Yeah,
I wasn't
that
in
place is
Hawaii.
so
Where were you?
nice.
Where were you? It
I was
looked
in
like
Branson.
you were not in Branson. That
Yes,
looked
I
like
was.
Hawaii.
Yeah, it was Branson.
Man, Branson is like the Christian capital of the world.
Mecca.
Yeah, I've only been there once. Anyway, did it meet your expectations?
Guys, we clearly understand why we're the number 10 podcast in
Yeah.
the world.
Right.
This riveting,
Great start.
amazing, cutting edge of your seat introduction.
Did Branson meet your expectations?
Yeah, exceeded.
No way. So
I like Branson.
I've heard it said before that missed expectations.
What is it said? What's said before?
It's in my notebook.
I would love to
that
hear.
I wrote.
What
I
is-
wrote it
what
down
has been said before
over there.
Nate, tell
and
us.
It's
Everybody's
So it's
listening.
It's not your idea.
Your,
Tell us what has been said.
your greatest disappointments come from missed expectations
Come from your expectations.
that are missed.
That's fair.
So what does that mean?
You're
I had
the
a
one
hard
that said it.
I had a hard time
You're the
understanding
Why don't
it.
you teach
You're the one that
us
said it
today?
right off the top of your dome.
Okay,
so-
here's the deal. If you expected to
Can I tell you what I expected?
Yeah.
I expected to work with competent people.
I expected a better
You know?
start to this
I
podcast.
expected that the folks that I would incite to be a part of this podcast would know what they're talking about.
Why'd you say folks?
I was going to say that you actually say like
you
the
looped
Ellen
me in
folks.
with him.
Yeah.
Wait,
Did you do that
no.
on purpose?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay, so that means, let's say JP's like, Nate, we're going to go to an amazing restaurant. Like, this is going to blow your mind, be awesome. Like, you are going to love it. Like, I might not eat for hours before. I'm getting ready, just cannot wait. And then we get there and it's just like
They have imitation
average.
crab.
Yes, they have. It's like an imitation crab buffet. And the thing is, it's fine.
Let me tell you something. I know the buffet you're talking about, and every crab on there, which is a lot,
For
'cause there
sure fake.
is all imitation, for sure.
I am going to be so much more disappointed, even if it's a fine meal, than if you just said, Nate, let's go to lunch. It's gonna be fine.
Yep.
My expectations would have been different. And
Because
therefore-
I'm gonna pull up on this.
Great.
Because this is crashing and burning. So we're gonna dive in and just say, you know what? What are the expectations of people in their 20s?
Great. They want to be married, or at least
They
dating
want to
someone.
have their dream job.
Make six figures.
Yep.
Out
Yeah.
the gate.
They
Live in a
wanna-
house. Buy a house.
Have awesome friends. Probably drive a cool car.
And
Live
they-
somewhere awesome.
They want to have a job, but not have to work that hard.
Yeah.
Like have a bunch of vacation time.
Be their own boss. Did you already say get married?
Yeah, get married, be dating someone,
Be
Yeah.
happy.
Be happy.
Happiness is such a thing.
vacation a lot. I don't know if you said that,
No,
but
that's good.
yeah, community, great church.
Like have enough, you know.
Have enough money to do whatever they
I
want.
mean, it is like for a lot of people, it's like, hey, I'm gonna go to a good school, get a good education,
Yeah.
get a good job, make a good salary, find a good spouse, have good kids, in a good house, in a good neighborhood, send them to a good school, and it's just like the good life. You know, hey,
the
I
American
want the good life.
dream. Yeah.
The good life. And I think that so many people in their 20s and 30s just run 200 miles an hour into a wall. And you graduate from college and you're like, is this really it? Like, is this what I went to school for? And like now I'm just like on the rat race, and man, is this it? Is this really it? Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah. I remember even feeling that way in college. Like you're told it's the best 4 years of your life and you're going to
That's
make
because you went to Stanford and had to study all the time.
Yes, I'm so smart. I went to Stanford.
Sanford, right?
Samford, S-A-M.
Oh, S-A-M? I always thought it was N.
Yeah, I actually.
I thought it was Sanford.
We should have just gone with the Stanford thing.
Sanford.
But I remember it was like maybe the end of my freshman year, and I just looked around and I was like, is this it? Like, is this the best 4 years of my life? Are these the best friends I'm going to have forever? Are these the girls who are going to be in my wedding? Like, is this it? So I think that starts soon because we talk up things so much, like college or post-grad or the 20s being the best years of your life. Like, you just have such high expectations because of the way that we all talk about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've experienced it a ton.
Yeah, and I know we talked about people expecting to be married or having a girlfriend or whatever. I know a lot of people who get married and they're like, wait, this is marriage. I thought it was going to be so much better and so much easier.
You know what a big thing is right now is I think they expect to feel some kind of way before they get married.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing a
Oh.
lot in 20-somethings is, man, I don't know. Is this how I'm supposed to feel? Like
Right.
they said, I just know when I know. Like, do I
Dude.
know? And man, I'm
Yeah.
in
That's
this
so
relationship,
good.
and like, and it's almost like the people that actually get married, they just take the plunge and make the commitment,
Yeah.
which is actually a biblical idea. Like you commit, you know.
Totally.
But they're like, well, gosh, well, how am I supposed to feel? And I'm like, you know, we've talked about it on here countless times. Your feelings change a lot. So
No,
Yeah.
that's good.
But what do you do once you're there? Like you said, they ran 200 miles into a wall,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my gosh, my life is not going how I thought it would. Is something wrong with them? Is something wrong with their life? Like what do you do once you're there?
Yeah.
what's like, what if I don't think we're on a truth journey. Do you know what I mean by that?
Nope.
Like, I don't think we wake up and think, hey, I want to go today and find what is true.
Yeah.
So what kind of journey do you think we're on?
A happy journey.
Yeah, I think we're on. That's exactly right. I think we're on a happiness journey. I think we wake up and we think, what is going to make me happy? And so, what if? Let me just propose this. What if the secret to happiness is really managing your expectations? Because, as you said so eloquently out the gate,
Thank you.
Our greatest disappointments come from our expectations. And so, what if we expect hardship? You taught an incredible sermon recently about Saul's conversion and how Jesus said to him, I must show him how much he will suffer for my name. And I think a lot of people think, oh, that's Jesus saying to Saul that, hey, I'm going to get you back for all the evil you've done. I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying, hey, I want you to know where this goes so you're up for it, because this is going to be hard. And Jesus did that for us. In this world you will have trouble,
Yep.
but take heart, I've overcome the world, right? And so I think we have to live in this world understanding, man, so much of this world is our expectations being unmet, but there is another world where all of our expectations, it will exceed our expectations. And we're living for that world, in this world where our expectations won't be met. We desire marriage, but we don't get it. We desire children, but we don't have them. We desire good children, but they go wrong. We desire health, but we get sick, and we desire a job, but we get laid off. We desire a high salary, but we lose it. We have hardships. We can't pay our bills. Like, nobody's like, man, here's my life. I'm gonna work really hard in college to somehow squeeze out a diploma, and then I'm gonna go into the work world making minimum wage where I can't pay my bills, and I'm gonna be celibate and single for the rest of my life and resent God, right? And I want to be clear here, because when we talk about marriage, I don't think marriage is ultimate. I don't think it's varsity and singleness is JV. I've said that many times. I just know that a lot of our listeners have expectations and desires of being married. And so we're speaking to the general audience. Some of you may have expectations to remain single and desires to remain single, and that's awesome. That you're like Jesus, you're like Paul. That's amazing. But in the midst of our expectations, like Jesus, there's this time in Luke 14 where he's at a party, and they they have him there to test him. They put him beside a guy with dropsy, edema. He's swelling, and it's the Sabbath, and they want to see if Jesus is going to, which is really a heartless, terrible thing to do. But Jesus, of course, heals him, has compassion on him, tells the guys, hey, what would you do? And then he sees them kind of jockeying for the right position at the table, because in the first century, where you sat at the table mattered. It's like almost like you could choose your own promotion. And if you sit by the person at the head of the table, then you're at a position of honor, and people are going to treat you honorable just because of where you sat. They're not going to question. They're like, oh, he's in a position of honor. He should be honored, so we're going to honor him. And so Jesus watches these guys kind of like say, hey, place backs, like, I'm going to sit here, this is my, I move the napkin, like, this is my, like, they're sneezing on the plate kind of stuff. I don't know if that actually happened, but they're like, hey, this is where I'm sitting. And he says, when you go to a party, do not take the position of honor, or someone may come and humiliate you and say, no, that's not for you. That's where I want them to sit. Instead, take the least desired place. And then when the hosts come, they may invite you forward, and you would be honored in that invitation. And think about it. Like, why do you think Jesus said this? Like, Jesus spoke these words. They were written in the Bible, and the Holy Spirit preserved them for thousands of years so that we would read them and do something different. What should we do with that? Like, what do you think we should do with that story? What's he asking us to do?
Have like a
to be last, like
humble perspective of ourselves.
I'm like spilling stuff on me today.
You really are.
Yeah.
He just spilled his coffee earlier. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, to be last rather than want to be first in everything, like, choose to be a servant.
And it's not a rogue idea of Jesus in this one area, because then there's this Mark 10 section where James and John are like, which of us will be the greatest in the kingdom? Can we sit at your right and left in the kingdom? Again, position means a lot in this time, this day and age where they're talking. And Jesus says, you don't understand what you're asking. To grant that is not for me. That's not for me to grant. And he says, can you suffer the way that I'm going to suffer? To which they say, hey, we can. And he says, you will. And he goes, but to give you those positions, those aren't mine to give. Those belong to my Father. And he says, and so you know, to understand what's happening here is the apostles think that Jesus is going to set them free from Roman oppression. So there's this government, and the government is oppressing Jews. And so they're Jewish, and they're waiting for this Savior, this Messiah, this Christ character to show up on the scene with a sword to defeat the Roman Empire, to set them free and to release them into freedom on this earth. And Jesus is like, hey, you know those, he says this in like Mark 10:40 somewhere, you know those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles? And they're like, yes, the Romans. And he goes, you know how they exercise authority over them? And they're like, yes, they killed my cousin, you know, they took my money, yes. And he goes, not so with you. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. Whoever wants to be the greatest must be slave of all. And then he says this powerful line, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as ransom for many. Think about that. That's a mind-blown moment, because Jesus is saying, hey, I have all authority and all power is mine. I am the most powerful human on the planet Earth.
Yep.
And I'm going to use everything that I have just to serve others. And this is what it means to follow me. And at some point that got lost.
But does that mean we should just like accept like a bad, sad life? Like, I don't know. I see so many of my friends who seem to live better lives than I do. I have a friend who just got back from 10 days in Italy. Another friend got to go to England this summer. Me, my wife and I, we got to go to Chattanooga. It's like, that stinks. I want their job.
Hey, and to the people in Chattanooga.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
very
me,
sorry.
hey, we love you guys in
are
Chattanooga.
I'm so glad you guys
But then
are
it's like,
listening.
I've got another friend who he works for the government. They're about to have a baby, and he gets 3 months paternity leave. I'm like,
Shut up.
I just always feel like there's this like better life out there.
Yeah.
Wait, hold up. 3 months?
Yes.
Paternity
Yes. Yeah, that was
glad
my
that's what we're
response.
focusing.
Isn't that insane? Well,
yes.
maybe. Well, yeah, I do think that's insane. I do.
Hot take.
I
How
would
much
be.
does his wife get?
Seems crazy.
Well, I have no idea. She doesn't work for the
Hopefully
government. But anyway, it just always seems like there's a better life out there, and it would just be like weird to not want to have a better life.
Yeah, so you said, so are we just supposed to embrace a sad life? And like my
Yeah.
response to that is no, we're supposed to find joy in serving.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
for
feel like
sure.
that's made up. No one actually feels joy.
Well, let's just
in
talk
serving.
about that. And I don't know those people I don't know anyone you're talking about, but like, who's happier, you or them?
Well, I actually think I am.
Yeah,
I mean that. Yeah.
And I didn't know that, right? And so
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were going to say, but I think we can draw the conclusion from that simple response that their traveling and seeing the world is not tied to their happiness. And statistically, this has even been proven over time. And so the person who sits somewhere and thinks, man, something else will make me happy, they're the saddest person.
Yeah.
The person who can find joy in their
Wherever they
circumstances,
are.
we can go back to Paul, who says in Philippians, I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Like I've said it on here before, he learned the secret of being content and hungry. That seems impossible. Like to be hungry is to not be content.
Yeah.
Your hunger pangs
Right.
are saying, hey, there's something you need that you don't have.
Right.
And Paul is saying, no, the secret to my contentment is that in Christ I have all things. And I can maintain that perspective, because while you didn't get to go to Italy for 10 days, you're going to get to go to Italy in glory. Like heaven's going to be here on the earth,
Yeah.
and you're going to get to go to that boot-shaped country, and you're going to get to see it in its most perfect form for as long as you want, as often as you want. You can go to Tahiti and Bora Bora and to the Caribbean and to the mountains. You can go to the Swiss Alps. You can ski on the Swiss Alps with the Apostle Paul. Right? I don't know exactly what that's going to be like,
That'd be fun.
but I know that I don't have to cram every experience right here, that I can live for glory and I can use my life to serve others. And the happiest people on this earth are those that have learned to find joy in using what they have to serve others.
Yes. And they know that heaven is around the corner. Like, why do you think we're commanded so often in Scripture to set your minds on things above, to have that heavenly perspective? The happiest people are going to be the people who know that this world isn't their home.
Yeah.
Because missed expectations are just a part of everyday life here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is the point like, don't have high expectations, just live life with super low expectations? Like, man, I'm probably never going to get promoted. I'm probably like not going to live with friends near me. Like, just kind of be Eeyore.
No, it's practicing contentment, because you can find joy in anything.
Ooh, burn.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't have to be Eeyore. You
Yeah.
can be happy.
Be Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, you can be Tigger, okay? You
Tigger.
can be Tigger no
That's
matter
what's
if you
up.
live in Waco, Texas, and it's 110 degrees outside
Oh,
every single day of the
gosh.
summer, and you don't get to go to any fun places for vacation.
Well, calm down.
Okay.
Okay, he started going on a rant there for a minute.
It's really hot in here.
Kids, and you're
Yeah.
married too. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm
stop.
sorry.
Stop right
It's getting a
there.
little
Hold
personal
on.
over
Okay,
here.
got a little heated.
I don't know. So
That was uncomfortable for me.
I am an Enneagram 7, right? You are too. We love experiences. We love adventures. I used to like want to go travel for my life. I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to go all around the world. I like fantasize that it would be more awesome than it probably really is to just like surf. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to travel
Kathy had
the
a horrible
world
experience
less-
wherever she went.
Sure, possible. Anyways, I like thought that I would find fulfillment in travel and in doing all these things. And then what happened? I got married. I had kids and I started working at a church. We don't make a ton of money. We don't have a lot of opportunities to go travel and have all these crazy experiences. And if you would have told like 23 Kathy what 33 Kathy's life would look like, I'm sure there's part of me where I would think, how would I be happy? Like, how would I feel fulfilled if I haven't seen the 7 wonders of the world, if I haven't traveled and backpacked Europe? Like, how would I have any sort of happiness? And I don't have that on my own. But the more time I spend with Jesus and the more I fall in love with him and his word, like wherever I am is enough because God is with me. And I'm not just saying that. Like I'm saying he's literally changed my desires to where like Mexico was so fun, but I knew that that trip wouldn't complete me in a way. Like I knew it would leave me wanting if I put all my hope in this one experience. We talked to a woman on the plane and she goes to Mexico twice a year. It's clear that like she lives for this week every single year. That's like her highlight. And I just realized like, man, how sad would that be if your escape was the highlight of your year rather than learning to find those high moments in everyday life.
Yeah. But like you said, the reason you're okay
That's
is
really
'cause-
good, Kathy.
because you spent, oh, okay, I got to get that after this.
Kathy,
Or you
I
could
am
just-
so glad you are on this podcast because you bring wisdom and truth
Wow.
to this
Thank you.
table. Nate, what do you
Let's
have
see what
to
I got.
say?
Okay, here we go.
No pressure.
Okay, so you were like, the reason I'm okay is I spend time with Jesus, and that's great. But I feel like sometimes that's even a letdown. It's like I go in, it's like, Jesus, you better blow my mind. I'm going to open up scripture, and it's like, it wasn't like this spiritual high, amazing moment. And then I feel like people eventually just kind of stop.
Let me just make sure I understand what you're saying, Nate. Jesus is a letdown. That's really
He's not a vending machine.
That's where we're going.
Well, maybe this happens to people, not
I
me.
think this is a great question.
But it's like,
No, it
but
is,
but
I'm kidding.
but I hear you saying I'm okay because
Right,
I
have
spend time with Jesus.
Right.
But then sometimes it's like, I don't know. I read Psalm 62. Actually, I had a great time in the Word this morning. There are other times when it's like, well, I don't know. Like it wasn't that mind blowing, and like I'm still in the same situation, and it feels like Jesus is working slowly, if he's working at all, and I don't really know what to do with that.
That's good. Oh,
Thanks,
Fix
Kathy.
him.
fix him. I'm like,
no.
I would also say that that's normal, and that's why we don't like even look at our relationship with God as like, what can I get out of it? Like we've already gotten salvation.
Yeah, guys, I think if we pursue life like, hey, I just want to feel as much pleasure as I
Yeah.
can, those people get sick. They're quite literally dysfunctional, and like that's how somebody becomes a heroin addict. I mean, truly. Or like crystal meth. It's like they try something, they're like, man, I really like the way that felt.
The
And
highs.
now not doing crystal meth doesn't feel as good as doing crystal meth, so I'm going to do it again.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back to not doing it. This doesn't feel as good as doing it. I'm going to do it again. I'm chasing that high. That's why people get addicted to cocaine. And it's not, you're like, gosh, adulterous sex. I can't tell you how many couples or people I've counseled in the midst of adultery that they think what they found is love, and really they're just addicted to sex outside of marriage.
Yeah.
Which is what happens when people have premarital sex.
Right.
We experience these pleasurable things, and then we chase them, and we're not able to experience the ordinary, mundane things of life and find joy in them. The porn addict, like I've read so much about pornography. I've written a lot about pornography, And some of the things that have stayed with me because experientially they were so true is somebody just said, that what porn does is it robs life of color. That you can be driving down this road and the birds are chirping and the smell of spring is in the air and there's this beautiful lake beside you that's reflecting the trees that are around the lake, and the sun is perfectly setting, and all of the hues of purple and pink and orange are bursting in the sky, radiating off the clouds, and it's just this perfect scene. But if you're a porn addict, it's simply not porn. And it just seems like it's grayscale. Like it just kind of faded to black and white grayscale. And you can't find any joy in it because you're so addicted to the pleasure that you find from looking at pornography. And really, as you're driving down that scene, all you're thinking about, when's the next time I'm going to look at porn? When's the next time I'm going to have adulterous sex? When's the next time I'm going to get to experience crystal meth or heroin or cocaine or ecstasy, right? This is why we grow dysfunctional. And what if the secret to life is really to be able to, whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do it all to the glory of God, to find joy in things, to enjoy what you have. Do you know what it means to enjoy what you have? To find joy in what you have. It's two things. It's utility and gratitude, meaning it's using what you have and being grateful for what you have. But instead, what we always want is something we don't have. So we seek to gain. But what if the secret of life, or let me say it like this, what if one day you're not going to be judged based on what you gained? You're going to be judged based on how you enjoyed what you had. Like how you found contentment in what you had. And when I talk about judge, I'm talking for the believer, because I know we're going to be judged based on what we did with Jesus. I get that. But I'm talking for the believer, the rewards that we receive in heaven. What if they have nothing to do with how much we had, like how much money we had in the bank account, and everything to do with how we found contentment in what we did have, what God gave us. And I think that message is lost in Christianity, that we're constantly going through life wanting more, having expectations, trying to find identity and satisfaction in the next season, rather than waking up and saying, all right, how do I live on mission today? And whether I eat or drink, how do I do everything to the glory of God?
And I think that even goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning about being a servant and giving your life away for others. Like, I'm thinking another way you cultivate contentment and gratitude is enjoying the things you have, but using the things you have and the life you have to serve other people.
Yeah.
I think that's where the joy comes into.
Absolutely. And I don't know that I connected it to your thought on a quiet time, but I would say I think so often we measure our quiet time based on how do we feel.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, was it a good quiet time or a bad quiet time? And we said, well, it depends. How do I feel? And it's like, what if your greatest quiet times, like your greatest times with the Lord, you didn't feel good after them?
100%.
Yeah.
What if they felt like grind and
Yeah.
grit, and like at the end of it, you're like, man, I'm in stinking Leviticus. You know, I didn't get anything out of this, and I don't even know this Old Testament king. Like now I'm over here in First Kings or Judges, and it's like, man, I don't know what I got out of that. And then later, like the Lord uses it to shape your heart,
So
brings up in
often.
conversation. You're like, hey, turn with me to Leviticus 16, the Day of Atonement. You see the scapegoat, and they're like, what in the world? How'd you know that? You're like, oh, because I had this terrible quiet time that turns out actually was a good quiet time.
So
Yeah.
good.
You know?
Gosh, that's good.
Well, I would say this podcast exceeded expectations.
Well, from where it started,
Y'all's trash talking at the beginning, I feel like I really turned it around.
you really turned it around.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you.
Man.
No problem,
Thank you.
I don't
guys.
feel like we thank you enough.
No
for being
problem.
here.
Seriously, it's my
What-
joy.
If you feel like we turned it around, leave a comment. And if you feel like we didn't turn it around, leave a comment and rate the podcast, because that's helpful to us.
Yeah.
And join us next week as we have deep theological discussions with Nathan Hilgenkamp.
Oh my gosh.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. To find out more, visit becomingsomething.com.